Welcome to REST, which stands for Resiliency and Empowerment Seminar today. I'm your host, Susan Gans. I'm a business strategist with my own firm called Gans Strategic Solutions. I created REST as a way of giving back to small and mid-sized business owners, executives of nonprofits, and other community leaders to shine a light on these leaders' professional and personal journeys, their organizations and missions, and to raise awareness about the great work that they're doing. Today, it is such a delight to be able to interview Winnie Benjamin, who's a friend and colleague of mine in the Mergers and Acquisition Alliance. In addition to that, she is the founder and chief operations officer of Stewardship Masters International and has a passion for people development, business performance, and assisting leaders of for-profit and nonprofit businesses to establish reliable and sustainable brand identity. She brings to this over 30 years of experience helping small businesses pivot during economic downturns by helping them to identify their transferable skills that can meet future market demands. She has a team of advisors that she could call upon in all disciplines, ranging from finance to legal to accounting to performance evaluation and marketing, to name a few. In addition to the businesses that she's helped start and thrive under her consultancy and coaching direction, Winnie has been invited to replicate the work she's been doing in international markets. And that invitation has taken her to the Caribbean, to South America, Slovakia, and Ghana, West Africa, where she's been instrumental in preparing the Ghanaian community of emerging entrepreneurs to develop reliable brand identity so they can sustainably trade internationally with their goods and services. She is also a founding member of John C. Maxwell leadership team of certified mentors and coaches. She's also has been awarded the 2016 Queen's Ambassador Award for doing amazing work in Queens. It is such an honor to have you today, Winnie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Susan. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor to be on your show. You're just such an amazing person in so many ways. How could I say no?
Thank you so much, Winnie. So take us back to the early days of your career. How did you figure out what was important to you and your focus? And then we'll bring the audience up to date on what you're doing. But take us to those early days.
Well, from the very early days of my youth, I was just naturally a curious bunny. And I always find a way of getting myself into constant trouble because of my curiosity. I had a passion, Susan, for exploring and challenging the status quo. It was always why. Winnie, don't do this. Why? Winnie, you can't do this. Why? And so I was nicknamed Why. It got to the point that people don't even bother. The adults in my life didn't even bother speaking to me because if they didn't want to hear the question why, and it was just a challenge, understanding why could I not have the answers that I wanted. So with not having someone to guide me, my parents did not have the exposure, vast exposure. They didn't go on to college. And also being raised in the Caribbean, the exposure was very limited. So all my whys could not be answered by them, which is the main reason why they thought, you know what, it's best to let her go to a larger country where I believe they can answer all of her whys. So I stepped out in faith. We came to the United States as a family from the time I was a child, quite young. So I'm more American than anything else. I'm a naturalized citizen, of course. But And it opened my eyes to so much. And I was still struggling, Susan, all through school, college, getting out of college, to find people who were thinkers. As a matter of fact, they shared with me that you really need to go into the graduate and PhD program and stay in a PhD program, because that's where you're going to find such people who are forward thinkers and thought leaders, because I yearn for them, but I'm not normally invited into that circle. So needless to say, what do? Because I'm just that type of person, I didn't just curl over and die. I found a way. I started traveling on my own. I did research on my own, and I made tons of mistakes, tons of it. But I did not allow that to throw me. I used that as a research lab. All the mistakes that I've made, trying to find out, to figure out this mystery called life. And in so doing, I find myself becoming more of an introvert, like closing out the world and going inside of me and enjoying this world that I fell in love with, between my books of personal growth and development and business leaders and all of those. They became my friends, and people thought me quite strange. But I enjoyed that that introversion. I really, really enjoyed it. And as I went through and I grew and I struggled by myself all through the world, I traveled the world all by myself. So you will always find me in a lonesome environment, doing everything by myself, but enjoying it, never feeling lonely. And I stopped to wonder how many people have been walking lonely in this world, who are like me, wanting to know more, could not find those relationships that's willing to take them to that level. And living in that silent desperation, many just go to the dust. Either they destroy themselves or they commit suicide in some way. And it bothered me. It really, really bothered me. And I said, since I found a path and since I understand what it is that I needed and it worked for me, how can I just package that and create a business for it and reach out to those people who can hear my voice and self-select and say, that's me, that's me. And I am able to reach them in that empty spot, that void that sits in our mind that no one seems to fill. I have paid for numerous coaching services, sessions, everything, and they were all good, but they were not touching that one spark inside of my mind that could have set me free in complete understanding and set me on my way. And there's so many people I see spending money for mentors, coaches, and they're not moving forward. They're still searching because they're here and they're there, but they're not meeting that fulfillment and satisfaction. And Susan, that means so much to me. Today, I'm such a happy person. I feel so fulfilled in my life, but how selfish would it be for me not to share what it is that I found that can work for me? And today, I must say, I have quite a number of unique individuals who are so excited about life and doing amazing things because I was able to reach that empty spot.
Awesome. I really love your stories, and we'll get into the resiliency you touched upon in terms of the mistakes. But one thing I wanted to call out is that you found your way and now you're mentoring others. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, have you had mentors yourself along the way and sponsors, those people who advocate for you along the way in your journey that made a difference or influenced you?
Well, coming out of college, I'm quite sure there have been many, and I don't want to be ungrateful, Susan, but in that area of still searching and not getting the full satisfaction, at times you don't focus because you don't feel that you really, you're still in that stage of when I look back at it, I am thinking it was a state of ingratitude because I'm not getting what I'm searching for, and I thank you for doing it, and then I move forward. Like I said, I tend to live in the now and the future, and so it was very difficult when it was asked of me before, and I'm grateful to every single person who even had a little drop of water to give unto me as I move forward. Every single person. Every day in my gratitude journal, I'm always thanking for every single human life that had touched me, that even I may not remember them by name, but they had gotten me closer and closer to where I am today. And for them, I am grateful. The key ones that I remembered, and there are a number in college, but coming out of college, there are so many. I think it was in my junior year, last year, or my first year, the last semester of my junior year or first semester of my senior year in college, I was introduced to a network marketing company, Mary Kay Cosmetics, and I was amazed by Mary Kay Ash and her story. And it inspired me, and I joined that organization, and I believe that's how I became very cognizant of mentors and coaches, that they do exist. And I remember going to Mary Kay's home. She was alive then, and she sat us down in her spacious living room. And I remember I was at the age of 22 or 23, very young age. And I was just so amazed with her story of where she came from, and to create an empire like that. I was like a kid in the cookie jar. So I took her mentorship and the leaders that were in her organization that was following in her suit. I took those in, and that I remembered shaped my life in the beginning of giving me ideas of where I want to go. And I can go to the moon, and she says, shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars, and if you miss it, at least you will be in orbit around the moon. And there's so many great things I remember Mary Kay Ash for. And so she's one wonderful woman I would think I'll go to my grave remembering as one of my key foundational mentors. And then I ended up with another wonderful person that just passed the other day, and that was Rich DeVos of the Amway Corporation. His life story of start and resiliency and all of those very important principles that I was yearning for and needed, that grounded me and kept me focused. That was just amazing. And then coming right along, meeting John Maxwell. Powerful, powerful man. I mean, I don't have to sing his name because I think the world of the John Maxwell coaches and mentors and the people he has touched can testify to who we are today. And then my silent ones in business, like Michael Porter in strategy. I follow him everywhere. He is my core when it comes to business and strategy, and the strategy is what I love. And so I followed him. Then you have Marshall Goldsmith, powerful. And there were just a number of those individuals that I could name. There are many more, but they're my settlement. They're my core. And I just constantly reread their books and remembering in my mind what was taught to me. And so that, in a small nutshell, are the key ones that stand out to me. There are many more, but they are the key ones.
So it's amazing how these mentors and these business leaders have really shaped you over the years, and it's so vivid in your mind today as that influence, and you take those lessons forward. So tell us more about what you're doing and how you bring these lessons into the work that you're doing today.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is at least looking at my journal, because I had to create a pathway from all of the mentorship that I've received through them, is that you create structure. Without structure, you become totally overwhelmed. You would have a lot of ideas, but you don't know where to start. And that was one of my challenges. So what I now do today is create a structure that, and I help individuals to create this vision of where they are, but where they ought to be, not by my pushing them, but they're telling me, this is where I want to go. This is my desire. I wish I could. I wish I could. And then I just simply ask them, would you really want to be there? And then I take them onto the path. So we start with understanding the alignment. There is the universal, I would say the universal laws of success. There are universal, no matter where you are. It has nothing to do with religion. It is all about the fact that we are human beings following a universal law of success. So I start with them being in alignment with those success principles, and then moving forward to understanding who they really are, Susan. Many people don't know who they really are. And so I use, assessment tools to introduce them to whom they are and tell them why, and help them to find out, now I know who I am, what's my purpose? And then from the purpose, we go into the why that they really understand through their life story. What is your why that would allow you to go forward and give back? And so we now form those values based on those universal principles of success. And from those core values, they now understand that they have to let that be concrete in their life so that they can swing, they can be adaptable, they can be flexible, just like those balloons. I don't know if you've ever seen them, they're commercial.
Yes.
Right? And when the wind blows, it goes like this.
Yes, they do some interesting dance moves, let's just say.
Exactly. So that's what I share with them, that if they want ability to be able to surpass time and culture, to be able to keep on growing and moving out and being adaptable, they have to be grounded in sustainable values that is non-negotiable. And then from there, they get their vision. Then they understand there's a game plan for your life, whether you want to just be a leader and your family being a business and you're going to be a leader of that family, or you're going to create a structured, external family, meaning a business, and go on to identify your team, what and their life, the purpose that you're hiring them for is not just to make money, but to see them as souls that you can develop, meeting each of them where they are and see if any of them are stuck in the same way that you were stuck. Because I'm not for the masses, I'm for that unique group of individuals who are like me, and to help them to reach their highest potential through developing others so that they could enjoy fulfillment. It's all about being happy, wealthy, and healthy. It's all about being all of those things, just being fulfilled through happiness and joy. And of course, having wealth, which is a byproduct of all that you do. It's not just money and shiny things and material things as your wealth. Those are byproducts of the wealth of your mind and the humans that you have developed who are flourishing and doing amazing things. No amount of money on earth can replace that inner fulfillment that we all so passionately seek. And so that's pretty much the major work that I'm doing, not only local here in the United States and New York, but in Europe and in Africa and South America and the Caribbean. And now with technology, I'm able to bring them together monthly, as they share their experiences with each other. And it's just a wonderful life, Susan. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's really.
Yes. We can tell that you're very passionate about what you do, and you pass that passion on to the business owners that you work with. And I think very importantly, sometimes people don't get seen for who they are, and you are really seeing them for who they are and bringing their best authentic selves forward, allowing them to do that, to live their purpose, to share their gifts with the world. And within that, Winnie, you are giving them a gift, and the gifts of your wisdom. I want to go back to something you said a little earlier about you learning from your mistakes, and that's really propelled you forward and helps you to be resilient. So I wanted you to talk more about, what does resiliency mean to you, and how are you being resilient during these very challenging times?
Okay, so resiliency means being able to be fast. For me, that's what it means, to be completely steadfast uh, in my beliefs, for example, I start with having core beliefs, right? That's for me. I must have core beliefs, non-negotiable. And that, therefore, that's my engine. That's what drives me. That's what strengthens me. That's what I rely on day by day, no matter what pops up in my life. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I do know one thing: I will stand. Unless, of course, I'm not invisible. You can shoot me and kill me. You could, poison me and I can no longer exist. But if no physical harm comes towards me, I can promise you I will stand, because I have for my company my values. And the values are always birthing and growing with you and shaping and guiding you through all newness of life, anything that's new. And so therefore I'm able to remember my past, the struggles that I went through, the mistakes that I made, and I did not die. And they were not so heinous where I had to be imprisoned for it. But I was able to use those as stepping stones and say, how did I overcome that? Did I overcome that? And because there's nothing new under the sun, I'm able to rely on that, the principles used, go back to it, stay firm within the values, lessons learned, and I keep moving forward. That, to me, is my interpretation of resiliency.
Absolutely. It sounds like your values are your guiding principles, and you take mistakes, if you will, as opportunities to learn and propel you forward. Which brings me to my next theme of this show, which is really about empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you empower yourself? How do you empower others?
Okay, so empowerment for me is, first, I start by knowing who I am. Why am I created? And I went into, you remember when I told you I had to find the whys of life? And that helped me to have, when I discovered the answer of that, it gave me the unwavering confidence in universal laws of success that guided me to achieve my highest potential in the service of humanity, Susan. And in turn, I'm able to go back and inspire and mentor others to do the same, to empower them by helping them to know who they are. Helping them, not telling them, but through coaching, bringing it out of them, taking them on the vision and the walk, helping them to read stories of what's going on and what do they think about it in a mastermind class where they get this, aha, I now can connect the dots. And you know what? I'm now ready to understand and to give back. And now knowing that I have a badge of support, that I now not just have Winnie's idea as the gospel of Winnie or the gospel of this, but the universal laws that surpass all culture and time, that they can own and understand and know without a shadow of a doubt. They can stand up and they can go out there and know that there's nothing called failure. It's just an experiment in a lab if it goes awry of what the intention would be. So you go back and you try another and you try another, but you're empowered to make mistakes. I do not tell people they fail. The school system set us up to believe that failure exists. And I think it has done great injustice to so many individuals who decide I don't want to try because what if you laugh at me? What if people, it is so damaging. And so I erase that from their minds and make them feel very comfortable that they can fail forward. And so I empower them to move forward into their destiny, failing forward all the way.
I love what you say about no judgment and the fail forward. So make your mistakes early and move
Yes.
on from them. Make
Absolutely.
more mistakes, move on from them. That's just absolutely so powerful. So in wrapping up a couple of things, one, I would love to hear from you what you would like people to walk away from this interview with. Like, what would you like people to remember about our conversation today?
Being fully aware of your natural talent and to serve others. You are given a talent and it's just natural. And sometimes, sadly, we take our natural talents for granted and we don't show up and we feel that why should I develop it anymore? Because everybody else that is functioning in this role, look, they're all behind me. Why should I make any effort? Let me just stroll through life. And it's so sad because when you have that talent, imagine what's more on top. It's like your parents leaving you a wealth of money. Do you just sit back and squander it? Or do you thank them, thank the opportunity, and build on top of that so that you can leave it for someone else, raising the bar, right? And so that's what I would like them to understand. If you find out what your true talent is, let it be passionate, grow it, and so that you can serve others well with it.
Very wise words. So I'm just going to repeat it, which is really to be aware of your natural talents, to grow and nurture it like a plant, and to be able to take that talent and serve others well with it. Yeah. And so, Winnie, in closing, I want people to find you. So where can people find you?
So I am Winnie Benjamin, Winnie M. Benjamin on LinkedIn. I normally don't remember those handles by heart, but I am on LinkedIn for sure. And my website is stewardshipmasters.com. And of course, my email is winnie@stewardshipmasters.com. That's a great way of finding me. You can also find me at 718-599-0042. And I think those are the best ways of connecting to me.
So I'm going to repeat that. You can find Winnie on LinkedIn, Winnie M. as in Mary Benjamin. Her website is stewardshipmasters.com. Her email is winnie@stewardshipmasters.com. And if you want to reach her by phone, it's 718-599-0042. Thank you so much, Winnie, for your time today and sharing your journey and your wise words with us. I so appreciate it. And to my audience, I want to close out a little bit differently today. It's a special day. I am today dedicating this episode to a dear friend who lost her battle with cancer earlier this week. Her name was Sharon Kornspan, and she is a bright spirit. She always has a positive attitude, was so full of courage in her battle, and was extremely strong. And if anybody is the embodiment of resiliency and empowerment, she definitely was. So I'm celebrating her life today. And I inspire the audience to move forward, to know that you have the strength within to craft the life that you want in your professional life, your personal life, in all ways. And I so look forward to continuing the conversations with you. Thank you so much. And thanks again, Winnie.
And thank you again, Susan. And you have my sincere condolences to you and your family, the loss of your friend.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.